Okay, hopefully, I'm cruising down the trail right now in the lead, and everybody's wondering about my sled. What's he doing? What's that Ken Anderson up to? So I thought I'd show you what we've been doing. This year, ever since August, I've been thinking about the strategies, trying to do something out of the box to make a splash and really make an attempt at winning this race. And I've been looking at the trajectory of the running and resting, how we've been doing it over the last 5-10 years or so. And it seems like the old days of running fast and resting long are the old days, they're history. And we just seem to be resting less and less and less and less. So I just kind of took it to its logical conclusion and said, okay, someday we're just going to be running non-stop. What's that going to look like? And so I decided to kind of experiment with that, and I've been playing around with different sleds all year long and using them in training, trying to keep them a secret up here, training at night. And there's a lot of dog mushers in our neighborhood, Lance and Mike Ellis and others, and I've been trying to be real under the radar. It's been kind of fun. But anyway, what I've come up with is a way to haul 6 dogs and run 10. And had we not been going on the trail that we're going on this year, I probably wouldn't incorporate the strategy, because it's just hauling 6 dogs is just too much weight going up the Alaska Range and over Rainy Pass and the hilly stuff we see early in the Iditarod. I was probably going to haul 6 dogs to short of halfway to Finger Lake, maybe, but then after that, maybe haul 2 or 3. But with this year running on the river, I'm sure we're going to see. I'm not the only guy who's going to be doing something different. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of different interesting sleds and racing strategies and techniques this year. Last year, Kelly Maxner, he wound up scratching, but he was having a really, really good race, and he hauled 4 dogs, swapped 2 dogs out every 2 hours, so the dogs were on a kind of a 6-on 2-off schedule. He did that all the way to Roan, and took us 24. But I did a lot of math and put pen to paper and figured out how to run 6 dogs, or to haul 6 dogs and thus be able to just run basically non-stop. I worked it out with, really I shouldn't take any credit for that. My wife Gwen spent several hours looking at that with me, and she's kind of the brains of the family, and she stopped about 3 hours into it and said, "This is a genetic algorithm." It kind of over my head. And so she got a friend of ours who's a PhD in physics, actually works for Gwen, to kind of help us out with it. And he made an algorithm and ran it for a while, and that's kind of what it took. It's pretty complex. And frankly, we're still working on it, and it's only about 3 or 4 days before the race. But we have practiced hauling dogs all year long, and the dogs it's taken them a little bit to get used to it, but they do it pretty well. This sled here is made out of an old sled of mine I just modified. It's actually pretty light, maybe weighs 25 pounds or so. It's not a whole lot to it. It's a pretty simple design. But the dogs can be loaded. Here, let's come on this side here. They can be loaded through a door on the side and just left free in there, or I could load them from the top and and clip them in there. I got two different foam pads in there for really good insulation and cushion for the dogs going down the trail. And plus I fill it full of hay, and they really get comfortable in there. They kind of like it. Well, they really like it. When I stop every 2 hours and snack, I pull these 4 dogs out, clip them onto these little leashes here so they can do their thing and take a snack. And usually as soon as they're done, a lot of them will just jump right back in there because they like riding in there. It's nice and warm, it's quiet, and I'll look through my vent here as I'm going and look back in there, and they're just resting usually pretty well. Not at first. When I leave the dog yard, they're a little bit squirrely, but I figured out which dogs ride the best, and I typically leave the dog yard with that group. And then after just an hour or two of running, the dogs go in there and they rest pretty well. So I use this kind of a system. I've seen a lot of different systems for hooking it up, but this cross brace tends to articulate a little better, I think, versus 2 straight bars. I think Jeff and other people have like just a ball hitch right here on the back of their front sled. This just worked pretty well. It's pretty simple. It acts as a shock absorber right here. It articulates this way, and it's just kind of a pretty simple setup, but it follows right in the track of the front sled, and it pulls very easily. It's amazing. You know, my dogs are big now. The males are like 60 pounds and the females are 50, so you stick, you know, 200 to 240 pounds of dogs and some straw and stuff in there, and it pulls remarkably well. So yeah, the other thing we're working on, I modified my caboose in the back here that I can haul a dog in there, I can haul a dog up front as well. So I can haul 6 dogs this way. I've got another little storage set up here. And the big thing that I've been working on that's taken a lot of time and a lot of tinkering is my cooker. And to my knowledge, this is the first cooker anybody's ever used while moving down the trail. I mean, I know some people have experimented with it, but I've never seen any in the Iditarod functioning successfully. But I've tested this one a lot. It works well. And the whole issue is safety and keeping the water from spilling out. And the only way I could figure to do that was with a pressure cooker. And my mother was terrified when I told her I'm using a pressure cooker. She's got more experience with these than I do, but you know, worried I was going to blow myself up. But it vents out here. It vents out here if it gets too hot. I close the temperature gauge off in this other port. But and then my burner down here is set up where I would basically have to tip it over for any fuel to fall out of it. For a while I had a little port back here where I could pour fuel in just on the fly, but it seemed sort of pointless, and I don't know, I just kind of got rid of it. But I insulated it with this beautiful spray foam, and this is fireproof stuff, although it can still kind of smoke a little bit if it gets too hot. But that's helped to make it more efficient. It's not a fast setup. It takes at least an hour to take fresh snow to hot water, and I can just do it as I'm going. You know, I'll open this thing up, and I got its own special little ladle in there I keep clean, and I just scoop as I'm going down the trail until kind of the last scoop. I don't, once it gets about halfway full, then I actually stop and scoop in real quick because otherwise it splashes out. But then just put the top back on, the lid on, and for a while I was thinking that this would be nice and comfy because I could sit on this and it would be warm on my butt. But it's kind of hard to regulate the temperature exactly, and it was either I couldn't feel it at all or it was like gonna burn me. So I wound up spraying that foam underneath to kind of just disperse the heat a little better, and then I put this on cushion so there's no more butt burning going on. But this backrest is really nice. I can sit on this thing and I've got like a lumbar support right here and a neck support right there. I can sit this thing back and just go this way, so. And yeah, it's pretty nice. And if I'm really getting sleepy and worried about falling off, I just put the seatbelt on, anchor down, and I can just relax. And I've tried to fall asleep on training runs, but I've never been tired enough to actually do it. But I can't imagine I'm not going to fall asleep on this year's race, especially trying to run close to non-stop. I have a light mounted on my handlebar here for when I'm, nodding off. The dogs still have good light. And what else? Oh, I've got this year. I got I put a radio in here for when I'm falling asleep and maybe the dogs are getting sleepy. I got this hooked to my iPod, and I just got lithium batteries in there, and it's really nice. Play some music for the dogs, and so yeah, it's been a lot of fun experimenting with this, and I'm sure we're going to see lots of different sled designs out there this year. Oh, another thing here is I kind of copied Jeff on this with these front extra runners there. That's pretty nice if I've got dogs in here and a lot of weight. I generally try not to put a lot of weight in there. If I'm only hauling 4 dogs, I'll keep them in the back. But if I'm hauling 6, I'm going to have 1 or 2 dogs in here. And especially then, and especially on any sort of soft trail, it really does help to kind of keep the front end floating a little better. And I think it pulls a little bit easier that way. So thanks for tuning in. Big thanks to my sponsor, Red Paw, for sticking with us and being such a great supporter over the years and making a really awesome dog food. And yeah, enjoy the race.